Oh, I love it. Ice cold, no emotion.
All right, Karate Combat
Perfect.
fans.
Today we're going to be listening in on GSP, Bas Rutten, all the commentary from my fight at Karate Combat 37. I'm going to give you some reactions to what they're saying. I think this will be lots of fun because I don't always get to go back and listen to exactly what they're saying, really analyze it. So let's go through these clips. Point by point, I will break in, give you my thoughts, and we'll have some fun together. So first off, as many of you guys have probably noticed, I am back at home. I had a treacherous return trip from Orlando. We had 3 or 4 hour delay starting in Orlando, shot up to Calgary, realized we're not gonna make our connecting flight. It was something like 1 a.m. in the morning. My bag got lost, then I ended up having to stay in Calgary for a couple nights. Then my flight was delayed again in the morning when I finally left, but I am back now and I'm looking forward to returning to regular episodes and enjoying the Christmas holidays, obviously. Now, before we get completely into this episode and we start talking about all the funny things the announcer said or intriguing things, somebody actually told me the reason I had an idea for this episode was somebody said Bas Rutten made a reference to me being like Hannibal Lecter. I haven't found that yet in the big long video that Karate Combat has for the whole event, but I would be interested to hear that. If anybody knows where it is, let me know in the comments below. But before we get to all the commentary and my reactions, I want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of this episode, Optimizers, and their Magnesium supplement, which once again I took all week long leading up to the fight. My body was feeling recovered, feeling fresh. I was getting the sleep that I needed leading up to the event. And as I told you guys in the past, I don't often sleep well during fight week. So once again, this has proved to be fantastic. I've recommended it on the channel many times before, and I will continue to do so because it's a product I truly believe in. If you want to try this out, you want to get on board, you want to start taking better care of your body and your health, head over to magnesiumbreakthrough.com/Gabriel and use the promo code Gabriel10 to save 10% on your order. Now let's jump right in to the very first bit of commentary that I heard, which I found intriguing.
Oh, I love it. Ice cold, no emotion.
All right, Karate Combat
Perfect.
fans.
Ice cold, no emotion, perfect. Kind words from Bas Rutten, absolutely. I don't think of myself as being so much ice cold, but I guess I do try and do like a disconnect, and that's for me the only way that I'm able to get in there and hurt my opponent, because I actually don't like hurting people and I have guilty feelings about it. So I guess having that ice cold disconnect is the way that I deal with being able to get the job done, hurt my opponent, and get the win.
Varga!
Well, Gabriel Varga not appreciating the dry ice there, I think, on his way out.
They were absolutely correct. You do the whole warm up and then you're backstage, you know, in the prep area, and you're trying to stay warm. You're trying to shadow box, you have a hoodie around you. You're trying to make sure that you don't go from feeling super loose, warmed up to cold, because it can affect your fight performance. So I did all that, and then I walk out to the Karate Combat venue and there's this blast, not of just mist, but cold ice that smashes you. And I just went, you know what? I feel like giving a shiver and just showing that I did not appreciate that. So the commentators were right. Not my favorite moment of the night.
You know, if you talk to a student, you know, when you talk about a blueprint for a fighter, for a kickboxer, that is Gabriel Varga, right? Everything is perfect.
It's technically perfect.
Again, kind words from the commentators, just saying that if you could create sort of the ideal student, that would be something like me. Very calculated, take my time, methodical in the approach. I think it works. It's not for everybody, because some people work off emotion. But for me, I decide that I work a little bit more disconnecting, and it's just a good observation from them. I don't know if they would have figured that out without talking to me before the fight, but that's why we do those pre-fight interviews with the commentators, so they can get to know a little bit more about us.
And you saw his house. Everything is ordered, everything is styled, you know, that's why I cracked that joke, of course. It's, yeah, he's something, man. Goes the body, goes the head, kicks legs. I mean, he will be all over the place. So it's going to be a hard puzzle for Tommy Jesus to solve.
That made me laugh because In some ways I am neat and tidy, but in other ways I just don't care. Sometimes in my home, like right now, I got a big pile of clothes down on the ground, and many times my dad can vouch for this. He goes, man, you can be a bit of a slob. So I have my moments where I'm neat and tidy, and I have my moments when I'm a slob. Both, yeah, it just depends on, you know, how nervous I am about a fight or what other distractions I have. Something else that Boss Rutten said there is he really likes my ability to mix up the hands, the legs, attack down low, attack up high, mix up to the body. Yes, I find that makes for a very dangerous fighter. And when I watch things like UFC or people who just headhunt the whole time and they forget about switching levels, I go, no, you gotta be smart. You gotta put some intellect into the fight. That's gonna make it so much easier to get the wins.
We'll see Varga trying to close the distance, but he normally doesn't start hard. He likes to study his opponent. He's one of these fighters that does a long filling out process sometimes.
That's kind of cool. George has watched more than one of my fights, if he knows that about me, because yes, I don't like running out and I don't like jumping right into the fight 100%. Why is that? You might be asking. Well, this is exactly a perfect example of maybe how methodical I am, but also the support that I draw from other people. My dad told me years ago, look at, if this guy's got a 9 out of 10 skill and this guy's got a 5 out of 10 skill and you come in and you battle, throughout the course of the fight, the guy with the 9 out of 10 skill is going to be victorious. But if you just rush out and all of a sudden you exchange full, the guy who's 5 out of 10 might land a lucky shot because this dude has not had a chance to adjust. So he warned me that the first 10, 15, 20 seconds of the fight are very dangerous and could easily go the other guy's way if you are reckless. So I like how George noticed that in me, and it's something that I will continue to do. Before the fight, the promoters, the guys at Karate Combat, were saying, you know, we love the fast knockouts. The fastest is 17 seconds. We'd love to see somebody outdo that. I go, that's never going to be me. Very often, I'm not going to exchange within the first 10 seconds, and I'm definitely not going to throw down 100% and forget my defense within the first 60 seconds until I've established some sort of data on my opponent.
And doing a bit of knee on belly for some strikes. He said he didn't like the groundwork in MMA, but that's kind of the first time we've seen proper knee on belly used.
I'm telling you, man, he does everything the right way.
I am glad the commentators appreciated the knee on belly. I did not train this whatsoever for the fight. Didn't do it once in training. Backstage, my brother and I were warming up and I did, I think, 4 throws and practice putting my knee on his belly. I did do some of this with my jiu-jitsu coach, Matt Kaiser. He has Kaiser Jiu-Jitsu in Victoria if you want somewhere fantastic to train. He actually taught me that, but that was 2 years ago for my MMA fight. The last one, which I was supposed to have, which got canceled. So we worked on that quite a bit, but for this camp, nothing. So imagine with what I displayed this time, having no training in 2 years, how well I can do next time now that I know this is a viable technique. And like they said, it's not being utilized. They had not seen that throughout the night from anybody. So it's an underutilized area within Karate Combat, which can definitely be exploited if you have this skill set. And I'm going to continue to push that skill set higher and higher so I can take advantage of it.
But also when he's punching and kicking, you know, it never leaves his head. And his answer was very simple. I said, how did you do that? He said, well, my hand movement is not that good, so it seems very smart to just keep my hands up. I go, okay.
Everybody kind of gets a kick out of that because they ask me, oh, what are you going to do with your hands now that you're in Karate Combat and you can't guard up? And I go, you know what? I don't like relying on loads of head movement because I do feel I get hit more often. I'd rather just post my hands to my head and take shots ricocheting off the gloves. Even Boss Rutten is kind of surprised. He's like, oh, okay, but it works for me. Why not do it?
I mean, Bas, Varga said, you know, when you get to the level of kickboxing that he tends to compete at, you know, you hit hard, not necessarily because you're that heavily muscled, but because you're so technically, you know, perfect.
That's it, yeah, and he's correct. You don't even need power if you got perfect technique.
Yeah, I like this. I talked about it with the guys. I said, look, I am not the hardest hitting guy in the kickboxing division in the top 10, but I still hit hard, probably as opposed to what Tommy's used to, just because I have that good, proper technique. If people out there are looking for ways to increase their power and they're like, oh, I'm going to practice hitting as hard as I can, I'm going to lift weights. No. Stop first. make your technique as perfect as possible. That will increase your power. And then after you have the perfect technique, sure, then you can add in the weightlifting and the explosive movements. But first, technical, because it's the easiest way, the most efficient way to improve your power.
For a guy that doesn't like the groundwork, he's doing pretty well.
That means so much coming from somebody like GSP, because his groundwork was phenomenal. Yes, I'm not a massive fan of the groundwork the same way that I am with the striking, but you know, if you can implement it against a karate dude like Tommy, who's just so good at, you know, making it difficult for me to sit there and land combos, if that's not working, well, why not close the distance? Closing the distance within karate combat, once I'm there, I might as well take advantage. So, listening to GSP say that, a legend of MMA, amazing groundwork guy, it means so much.
Yeah, not a whole lot to say.
Ready, gentlemen?
He knows what he's doing. Nobody needs to tell him something, anything.
That was a funny sort of comment there. They know they were referring to me and saying that maybe I wasn't getting advice from my brother in the corner, but I actually was. And I actually listened to him. And my brother actually has spectacular things to say in the corner. Never go back and don't have enormous information which I can absorb. He's very good. He doesn't go do this and this and this and this and this. He goes, look, here's two things that you need to dial in. Now, at the end of this first round, I can't remember 100% what he said. Just, you know, a few days later, there was lots happening. I can't remember, but he absolutely did give me information. The commentators just must have missed what he was giving. I know he gave me information because he does between every round. Amazing insight on what I need to do to continue getting that victory.
Varga's trying to back him up. I wonder if it puts a sense of urgency into Gabriel Varga now.
It has to.
Up we go, big flurry from Varga, staying on his feet nicely here. Azuz trying to find a way out. Well, now he's downed.
Yeah, absolutely. When you get a big cut and you're bleeding and you're going, shoot, if something happens and they hit it or he hits it again, it might open up more and they might stop the fight. There is a sense of urgency. And fortunately for me, I guess in some way, I've had lots of cuts on my face, so the urgency is there, but it's not panicked urgency. It's just, okay, I gotta pick things up now. And again, like we already said from the commentators, you know, be methodical, be ice cold, get the job done and get that victory.
Varga can tee off at will and again. Oh my God. Wow.
Bad.
I think he's gonna get warned for leading in with the head here.
I love it. I think it was GSP there. Ay, ay, ay. Yes, exactly. That headbutt right there, if my hand wasn't up, that would have been a second massive split. And that one probably would have gone on the head or lower than my hairline, which would have equaled more scars on my face. We knew going in that he would rush. My brother warned me, but you know, sometimes in the moment, you just can't be as perfect as you want to be. And yeah, I paid the price. But great reaction from George. Ay, ay, ay. Or it might have been Boss Rutten. I'm not 100% sure.
Seems flesh wound. Seems like Varga released a little bit the pressure. Like now he's
Very methodical now.
Teeing off again here. It's a good flurry. Has he got knee on belly or has he got knee on the ground? I've got to tell, he can't have a knee on the ground to initiate those strikes.
I love the timing there. Just as George says, okay, he's taking his foot off the gas pedal, right away I'm in. And right away I put him on his back, and that's when I really started banging. No, I cannot hear GSP. He's far away. I don't hear anything the commentators are saying, but I just love the timing of that.
Turn away from his opponent when he does so. Good shot. Gets spun. Not long left. Varga trying to finish here.
Oi!
Oh, he's going to see it out of the round. Varga thought he'd done it, but it is dying seconds.
The commentators there don't really say anything spectacular. I mean, I like the reaction, but I just wanted to throw this one in because I love the left hook. I love the 180 that he does. And I think he's out because I hit him so hard he spins, but then he puts his hand down, he completes the other 180 and does the 360 and is locked in and focused. I just had to throw that one in just in case you hadn't seen it yet.
Varga's just notching it up here.
Azuz is...
oh yeah, Azuz
he had trouble coming up, right?
Yeah.
I was definitely notching it up in the second round. And one of the things which I didn't notice, which I heard the commentators say there, is Azuz had trouble getting up that little slope out of the pit. It's something that I said at the last event. That slope is deceptive. Now, when you're fresh, getting up, it's no problem. But if you're tired, if you've been beaten to the body like Tommy and you're not able to catch that air, that slope, that 4 feet that you got to sprint up to make it and not fall, it could be exhausting. And I pointed that out before, and it was just interesting hearing the commentators mention that, even though we can't see footage of him actually trying to climb up.
And this happened quite a lot of times. Azu's getting pushed down to the mat. You see that there Varga's knee is on the ground, and those are not legal shots. So the referee has got to be on the ball with watching that.
Yes, absolutely. The referee needs to be more on the ball. I put my knee on the ground a couple times, 100%. I mean, these are new rules to me, and like I said, I didn't practice this skill set, so I made errors, but the referee was also stalling or impeding my fight ability because he was not letting me throw knees. And we had a very specific, very specific rule meeting where we're talking about the instructions or what we're allowed to do. And it was, you can't grab and pull, but you can frame, you can do anything with your hands as long as it's not grabbing and pulling them as your knee. And the referee warned me many times. And then I just basically stopped kneeing because I went, if I do it again, he's going to take a point off. So the ref was a little off in his judgment call for this fight. He missed the knee hitting the ground. That won't happen again in the future now that I know it. And hopefully I'll reach out to Karate Combat and get them to sort out the rules so next time I can throw knees, because I trained them but couldn't really execute for this fight.
Well, the stuff he said I can't translate because it's swearing, but he says he says you're gonna put your chin down and ends up, and it's the last round. You gotta give it all.
That is the danger going into the third round. I like how GSP says I can't translate because there's swearing, but basically you need to beep, 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 get in there and beeping, whatever the swear words would be. And yes, third round, even if you've been dominating, the guy's dangerous because that's always the instruction the corner's going to give. You got to come out and you got to smash this guy and get a KO finish. So caution, even when you're ahead, is very important.
You should have just straight translated. It's just not me.
You asked, you can get away with
it. George's beeps were better than my beeps. But yeah, basically, we're in a martial art here. This is not UFC where you can commentate, say whatever you want. I don't know if they can swear actually in that. But karate, it's a martial art. There's respect. Of course, George is not going to repeat what somebody was saying if they're cussing away in between rounds.
On the damage to the forehead. Varga, question mark kick over the top.
Oh, the liver punch.
You see?
Yeah, he said his left hook to the body is his favorite weapon.
Yes, the left hook to the body is my favorite weapon. I love that question mark kick. I love the reaction that I got from the commentators. Everybody gets excited by this kick. Just a little bit more. It just kind of clipped with the lower section of my foot. Maybe another 2 or 3 inches closer, and that could have been a game-ending technique for this fight.
When he's in ground and pound position, I believe that's a mistake that he does because he always goes for the head punches. And Azu's covered very well his head. I think he should work on the rib cage and on the side, you know, to the body.
Well, he did that in the second round.
Again, I cannot hear what these commentators are saying, but I am getting information. I'm also getting information from my brother, but my brain's going, and I realized at some point that, yeah, he's shelling up very well. I need to go down to the body. But as Bas said, I had already done that a couple times in the second round, but it's just cool how George is saying what I should do, and then I realize, without even talking to him, that yes, this is something which I need to start implementing more. And when I did it, it definitely got me closer and closer to that KO or TKO victory, which is the way the fight ended. So fantastic advice from George St. Pierre. I wouldn't expect anything less from a legend like that.
He did throw body shots in between there as well.
Look at the power of Varga.
Yeah, he's really taking it to him right now.
Oh, good knee on belly. I think he's irritated.
I did get a little bit irritated, and my power increased, like being able to push somebody like that. Like, yes, Tommy was about 10 pounds lighter than me, but I got some strength training in for this camp, felt a little more powerful, put on some muscle. So I'm glad people are noticing and recognizing that the work I did is actually paying off.
Yeah, it's the guy you don't want to piss off.
Right. He said, you know what, I've got my martial arts background, I can control my emotions. You know, whew.
Well, it's still controlled.
Oh, beautiful.
I like that point by them. He's not a guy that you want to tick off. And very often, getting somebody mad in a fight is not a good, or it can be a good idea because they act on emotion. I've had 2 fights where I got mad, basically. This one from the headbutt, Plus, as you guys have already heard, I had some other stuff happening in my life, which I was like venting some anger, maybe. But no, and I will get to that in a future episode, by the way. Just not the time right now. And then number 2, a fight in the past where a guy was being a jerk. Like he was calf kicking me before calf kicks were a thing, and that upset me. He was clubbing, and I knocked him right out of the ring and got really angry. So I'm probably not the right person to get mad in the fight, because I will stay super methodical and I will stay on point. But that compassion I have for not wanting to hurt my opponent, it kind of gets thrown away. I kind of just go, okay, you know what? I don't care if I hurt this guy now. And then all of a sudden there's this new beast in me that comes out. So yes, you don't really want to tick me off in the fight. Probably not a good strategy, judging on how I've reacted in the 2 other fights where people made me mad.
The Zeus is going to be wearing some damage
There's
here.
the body shots.
The body shot it works very well.
That's
from this-
delivery, you know,
Yes.
he's hunting it again.
These guys loving those body shots. What can I say? I agree with them. Body shots are awesome. I like them because number 1, they don't hurt the guy's head. You don't worry about concussions. That's one of the reasons that I got into throwing so many body shots, because I went, oh, it's a way to finish the fight or win the fight, but not leave this guy wrecked with a headache and long-term damage. So it's always nice hearing the commentators say that. They don't like it for that reason, but you know, sort of a shared interest for sure.
I mean, I'm dying for the interview for Gabriel Varga here, because you know it's going to be very reflective and introspective, but you know.
Reflective and introspective. I get in this reputation within the martial arts world of being a big thinker. I don't really recognize that in myself. I feel like what I do, everybody else should be doing. I'm not doing anything exceptional. You should take moments, stop, think about things, really dissect them. If you're not already doing this, I don't understand why not. It makes you a better fighter. You see guys like Petrosian, who they call like, he's like a human computer. And look what he can do with that thought process. So I would say that, yes, everybody should be doing it. I'm glad the announcers appreciate it so much, and try it out. Start engaging that brain. And remember, this is not just a fight sport where it's just the physical side. There's the mental side as well.
Because the fact that there is no submission, when a fighter hit the ground, I think it's advantage to make like a bubble, you know, like to bring his knees to his almost shoulders and cover the head like in a fetus position.
George is so right here. We see many of the guys just going like this, but you can tuck those knees in and just go to that fetus position and keep yourself ultra safe. The ground and pound is so much more difficult when there's no threat of the submission. And also there's so many other positions you can't get in. It's just knee on belly. So George, smart dude, good note. And I'm gonna keep that in mind for the future. See, I'm learning things just listening to other people.
You know, he just, that headbutt happened and he went beast mode.
That's it.
That's it. Beast mode. I like it. They just seem so intrigued by me. I find it very amusing almost, because I don't think of myself as anything special in this regard. Like, yes, I know I'm good at this fight sport, but the way my mind works, it's just the way my mind works is just normal, I thought.
So we're getting a nice show of respect in the middle of the pit here.
Commentators always seem to appreciate the respect. And like I was saying before, in this episode, things are a little different in karate because it's a martial art as opposed to MMA, where I feel like a lot of the fighters are not martial artists, maybe the way that somebody like George St. Pierre is, but everybody should be respectful. Everybody should show those, you know, that appreciation to your opponent after, be friends. It just seems like something which should naturally happen, but it always sort of shocks me when commentators are that surprised by just the good intentions after the fight.
Bas, we've got the stats up on our screen here, and let me tell you, strikes landed, Tommy Azuz 25, Gabriel Varga 112.
Yeah. And well, let's talk about punches landed. 95 versus 17.
Goodness.
Is it just me, or does everybody else out there love Boss Rutten's laugh? I love that laugh. It's so cheery. If he had a beard or something, it could be like the perfect Santa Claus laugh. I'm just saying.
Talked about how cold, how calculated, how technically brilliant he is. I mean, you know, this guy could really just rule this lightweight division.
He can.
Cold and calculated. Whew. I hope the people close in my life don't think about me like that. But yes, in the ring, I do try to stay a little bit cold, and I do like try to be calculating in things. So compliment, I suppose. And I really like the way that they're just like, yeah, he could rule this division. That is my plan. But as you guys heard, I don't want to rush it. Like, I got offered a title shot early on, But I went, let's respect these opponents, respect the different style, and start making adjustments and take it slow. So I'm not going to jump to it right away.
He says, let's work the kinks out of the cable, you know, give me another fight first before I go for the title. He knows exactly what he wants. Everything is methodical. I love it. I love everything about him.
Well, there we have it. Same thing that I just said, and Boss Rutten loves it. That guy is awesome.
It's incredible. And Varga, I'm very excited to see what the future holds for him. I personally would like to see him for a title, but he's so methodical. You want to take his time and go step by step. It's okay too.
Of course, everybody wants to see me go for that title shot right away, especially if they have faith in my ability. And even GSP is like, I want to see you do it. People want to see you take that big challenge, that big risk, jump up the line. It's more exciting to them. But for me, I'm not worried about the massive excitement factor. I go, my fights are exciting, and the road to getting where I want to get, that can be controlled at my pace.
Varga is the precision guy. He's like the surgeon, I call him.
Calculated.
And everything is perfect. You know, like if you see him fight, he'll always have his defense up. And I asked him about that. He says, well, I don't have a lot of great head movement. I don't like to get hit in the head, so I figure the smartest thing is to just keep my hands up.
So simple.
Makes total
simple.
sense.
These guys are so amused by my answer. Of course he would do that. I don't like getting hit in the head. Who wants to get hit in the head? If you lock our hands to your head, you're going to take less damage. The amount of concussions, the minimal amount of concussions that I had throughout my career with the sparring and the fighting, it's really low. Like a couple minor concussions. Why is that? Do I have this great, big, strong head that just doesn't get hurt? No, it's because my hands are up.
And he just dissects your opponent. Look for him, first round is going to be feeling off round. That's why he puts all the movement in his computer, and the second round, most of the time, he starts fighting.
We already talked about this. I think GSP mentioned it earlier in the episode, but yes, you take your time, you're like a computer, you don't rush out, you're calculated. Sometimes people see this as, like they're not coming out and banging, but these commentators who used to fight, they appreciate it, they recognize that it's important, and I like listening to what they have to say because it means a lot. Hearing guys like Boss Rutten and George St. Pierre, legends in the martial arts world, going, yeah, he's doing something right. And then I can go, okay, good. They're not disappointed in me.
I think some people don't realize, even this, if you look at this card, having these names on. But if we only had Gabriel Varga, that should be enough.
Yes.
He's amazing.
That was nice to hear from the president, Adam Kovac, just saying, yes, this is a stacked card. Like they had GOAT versus GOAT in the main event for karate. And they had a title shot at bantamweight. And they're saying, you know what, if we didn't even have that, Gabriel would be enough for the main event and to hold this card, basically center it around him. That means a lot. I came to Karate Combat because I wanted to help the organization grow, but I also wanted them to help grow my name. We have to be mutually beneficial. And when the president can recognize that hopefully in the future, especially once I start going for title shots and have belts that I'm defending, that yes, I can center, or they can center the whole card around me. That's exactly what I want. It's something which lacked, I think, in Glory. Even when I was defending my title, they did not do a good job of promoting my name the way I wanted. Bellator did a little bit better job, but again, I was always in the kickboxing card instead of the MMA, so I never got that big highlighted, this is our card, this is the fighter. I hope that I'll see that in the future with Karate Combat.
And he walks around.
Very accomplished athlete.
Yeah, and he walks around with that feeling. You get that sense that he knows he's confident.
Yep.
But he talks about his opponent. He says no matter who it is, he always fears and respects his opponent because anyone could have that lucky shot.
100%, and he's right, especially with those small gloves, you know what I mean?
George St. Pierre calling me an amazing athlete, that is fantastic because I actually look up to him and go, this is an amazing athlete, somebody that I want to be like in 3 or 4 years when I'm the same age as him. And him just looking and going, yeah, you have to respect your opponents. Of course he knows. If he took his eye off the ball when he was defending his UFC title and did not give people respect, he wouldn't have had it for as long as he did. Always respect your opponent. I made that mistake in the past and I lost a couple fights just because that respect was not there in the way it should be.
Yeah, he's in because his movement is completely different than Varga's ever seen. His speed on his kicks is just insane, and he left and right, it doesn't matter for him, you know. And if you're not prepared if you don't have a guy like that to train with, it's going to be a problem.
And I like how Boss said there that yes, this is something Gabriel hasn't seen and this could be a problem. He's 100% right. I did not have anybody to replicate that speed which Tommy has. I didn't have anybody to replicate that exact style. Like I had guys who tried, but again, we only had a 2-week training camp. but it can make things difficult when you switch up styles or stylistic opponents. And yeah, they recognize, because these commentators are the real deal. So I hope you guys had fun listening to the commentary, seeing my reactions to it. I hope I gave you some insight and you learned some things in the process as well. Remember, if you want to support the channel, you can give the video a like, you can get subscribed, but even better is to make sure you do your health a favor and you support the channel by helping me with my sponsors. You can head over to magnesiumbreakthrough.com/Gabriel. Use that promo code Gabriel10 to save 10%. This helps these guys, which helps the channel. Big circle, big cycle. We're all working together. It is fantastic. And I appreciate all the support I had this last week in terms of prepping for the fight, all the love that I was given. And when I was in Calgary, people messaging me saying, oh, you can come and hang out with me. Just so much love. And it is amazing. Guys, thank you so much for joining today. I will see you back here soon for another episode.